August 1945. Inside a secluded English mansion known as Farm Hall, 10 of Germany's leading nuclear scientists were being held by British intelligence. They had no idea the entire house was wired with hidden microphones. Then a news report came over the radio. A single bomb had destroyed the Japanese city of Hiroshima. The reaction was immediate. Some sat in stunned silence. Others openly questioned the announcement. Werner Heisenberg, the physicist who had led Germany's most important nuclear research group, simply refused to believe it. To him, it sounded like propaganda. But there was one detail that made the situation extraordinary. These were the very men many believed would build that bomb first. Before World War II, Germany was home to some of the world's greatest physicists. Nuclear fission had been discovered there. For years, Allied governments feared that Adolf Hitler might become the first leader in history to possess an atomic weapon. So what happened? How did a nation that seemed to hold every advantage finish the war without even operating a successful nuclear reactor? This is the story of the Nazi nuclear program. December 1938. In a laboratory in Berlin, German chemists Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann were conducting experiments with uranium. The results seemed impossible. After bombarding uranium with neutrons, they discovered traces of barium among the reaction products. It was as if the uranium atom had split in half. Confused by the outcome, Hahn wrote to his former colleague Lise Meitner, an Austrian physicist who had fled Germany only months earlier because of Nazi anti-Jewish policies. Together with her nephew, Otto Frisch, Meitner found the explanation. The uranium nucleus had indeed split apart. The process became known as nuclear fission. More importantly, it released an enormous amount of energy. For the first time, scientists realized that a chain reaction could potentially transform tiny amounts of matter into an explosion of unprecedented power. Within weeks, the discovery spread through the scientific community. And before long, military officials began paying attention. In April 1939, just 4 months after the discovery of nuclear fission, a group of German scientists established the Uranverein, the Uranium Club. Its mission was to explore the potential applications of nuclear energy. At the same time, physicist Paul Hartek sent a warning directly to the German Army Ordnance Office. His message was straightforward. Whoever mastered nuclear energy first could gain an unprecedented military advantage. The warning was taken seriously. In September 1939, the same month Germany invaded Poland and launched World War II, the German army assumed control of the project. The Nazi nuclear program had officially begun. The Uranverein brought together some of Germany's most respected scientists. Among them were Werner Heisenberg, Nobel Prize winner and one of the founders of quantum mechanics; Otto Hahn, the discoverer of nuclear fission; Paul Hartek, a leading expert in nuclear chemistry; Walther Botha, responsible for critical experimental measurements; and Kurt Diebner, who exercised significant influence over the project's day-to-day direction. Their goals were ambitious: build a functioning nuclear reactor, produce uranium and heavy water on an industrial scale, and develop methods for separating uranium isotopes, the essential step toward a potential atomic weapon. On paper, the program looked promising. In reality, problems emerged almost immediately. One of the greatest ironies of the story is impossible to ignore. The same regime that sought technological dominance across Europe had weakened part of its own scientific community. Beginning in 1933, Jewish scientists and political opponents were systematically removed from universities and research institutes. Many left the country. Among them was Albert Einstein. Others followed. The result was a loss of expertise that Germany would never fully recover. At the same time, the war demanded resources elsewhere: tanks, aircraft, submarines, artillery. These projects received immediate priority. Nuclear research did not. By 1942, fewer than 70 scientists were working directly on nuclear fission research in Germany. For a project of this complexity, It was an exceptionally small workforce. Beyond limited support, the project suffered from internal difficulties. There was no effective centralized leadership. Research institutes often competed against one another. Scientists fought for resources. Information was not always shared. Responsibilities shifted repeatedly between government agencies. But organizational problems were only part of the story. There was also a major technical challenge. German scientists believed heavy water was the best material for controlling a nuclear chain reaction. The problem was that heavy water was extremely scarce. The primary source was a facility in occupied Norway. Throughout the war, Allied sabotage operations repeatedly targeted the plant, destroying equipment, supplies, and infrastructure. Without enough heavy water, progress slowed dramatically. Graphite could have served as an alternative. However, experimental results convinced German researchers that graphite would not work. Years later, scientists discovered those results had been distorted by impurities in the material being tested. A seemingly small error ended up influencing the entire direction of the project. In June 1942, a team led by Robert Doppel conducted an experiment known as L4. The results suggested that neutron multiplication was occurring within the system. It was a significant breakthrough. For the first time, a functioning reactor appeared to be within reach. Then disaster struck. A chemical explosion destroyed the facility. Months of work vanished overnight. Meanwhile, in December of the same year, a team led by Enrico Fermi in the United States achieved the world's first controlled nuclear chain reaction. Chicago Pile 1 entered the history books. German nuclear research continued, but it was moving far more slowly. After the war, the scientists at Farm Hall were stunned by the news from Hiroshima. The secret recordings revealed something unexpected. Many of Germany's leading physicists seemed unsure about how the bomb had actually been built. Heisenberg, in particular, struggled when discussing calculations related to the critical mass required for an atomic weapon. That discovery sparked a debate that continues to this day. Had he made genuine mistakes? Or had he intentionally avoided pursuing a bomb for Hitler? After the war, some German scientists promoted the idea that they had never intended to build a nuclear weapon in the first place. The story became famous. But most historians today consider a less dramatic explanation far more likely. The project simply never advanced far enough for that decision to become necessary. When Germany surrendered in 1945, a new competition began. Americans, Soviets, British, and French forces rushed to secure scientists, documents, and equipment. The United States launched Operation Alsos. The Soviet Union relocated German specialists to assist its own nuclear program. Entire facilities were dismantled. Laboratories were emptied. Even without producing a bomb, Germany's nuclear research was still considered valuable. Every major power wanted to ensure that knowledge did not fall into a rival's hands. So how close did Germany really get? That question continues to fascinate historians today. During the war, many believed Hitler might acquire the most powerful weapon ever conceived. But the evidence uncovered after the conflict tells a different story. The German nuclear program conducted important research. It generated valuable scientific knowledge. It built experimental prototypes. But it never operated a successful nuclear reactor. It never produced plutonium. It never mastered uranium enrichment on the scale required for a weapon. And it never developed a viable atomic bomb design. In the end, the failure cannot be explained by a single event. It was not simply Allied sabotage. It was not simply a lack of resources. It was not simply a technical mistake. It was the combined result of political decisions, military priorities, organizational dysfunction, scientific limitations, and technical obstacles. When Hiroshima was destroyed in August 1945, Germany was not on the verge of building an atomic bomb. It was still struggling with fundamental challenges that had followed the project from the very beginning. And perhaps that is what makes this story so fascinating. The Nazi nuclear program did not fail because of one dramatic moment. It failed because of a long chain of decisions, mistakes, and circumstances that ultimately changed the course of history.